In a world where war never ends, one man carries the weight of a generation, survivor of the battlefield, bringing you hard truths and hot lead, reviews from the locker, and trips to the meat grinder. Now he's taking you behind enemy lines, not into combat, into truth, stories from 1st Recon Battalion, with no BS conversations. Marine, veteran, Brad Iceman Colbert, where legends tell it like it is. This is not just a podcast, it's a mission.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Carry On Podcast. I am your host as always, Brad Colbert, the Iceman, and we're here for part 2 of the AMA, continuing to listen and respond to all of your questions, the things that you want me to answer and the things that I don't want to answer. But I promise I'm going to let the former override the latter. So with that being said, in the studio, as always, is our question reader, Anna, live and in person. No, we're not going to turn the camera around. You're just going to have to trust me. So, Anna, where did we leave off and what can I answer next?
Right, well, this one is from a category I've nicknamed Nobody's Business, because that's what I think it is.
Okay.
I don't think we should ask this. I don't think you should answer it. But, you said anything, so here we go. This is from Ashamed Event.
Okay.
Username. Aptly named. What was the reaction to Brad's "It's nice having friends" speech from the two people he was talking about?
Not great, but it was also back in 2008. I think there was a lot of water under the bridge. There was, there was an uncomfortable conversation with him, and I explained, and he understood, and we moved on. I mean, this is somebody that I have been friends with since we were in junior high school. I'm now far away from junior high, and we're still friends, and I think that speaks to the friendship, and we're not going to let something like this derail that. So, yeah, there was a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation, but other than that, all good.
Moving on. This is from M134 Rotary Cannon.
That's a great handle.
Hey, Brad, over the 20 plus years of technological progress in the US Marine Corps infantry kit, especially for recon, what's a piece that you wish you had during the invasion?
So that's wow. Yeah, great question. We had none of the over-the-horizon drones that we had later. I think those would have been helpful in a lot of instances to have some organic ISR capability. It's a bit ironic because recon by its very nature is that organic recon capability, but that would have been one thing. There's a lot of hand-thrown short range, 1, 2, 5 kilometer UAVs that are fantastic for things like that. And then communications equipment, we've gotten just light years advanced on comm gear, both inter-team and up. So those are two definite things.
That's it. That's all you got.
That's all I got on that one.
Well, let's go back to the Nobody's Business category, shall we?
Yes, please bring it.
I'm going to have a sip of my drink because I'm needing it for this one.
Okay.
How hard is it really, no pun intended, to jack off in a 120-degree porta-john? And is there a real danger of passing out before your objective can be achieved?
Well, obviously I'm a paragon of virtue, so I never masturbated in those conditions, right?
Did you do it out in the open where everyone else could witness?
And that's my official policy stance on that. But if I was to have masturbated in a porta-john, at what point does it become heat exhaustion territory? I mean, I guess you got to break it down into its component parts. How long are you in there for? And how long do you want to be in there for? I will tell you, any porta-john, even in a temperate climate, is a disgusting place to sit. And I can't imagine being in a 120-degree version of a porta-john long enough to climax. So I don't know, because I've never proofed this question. I would say you do the field research and then report back. This sounds like something that a grant could probably be given for from the government. I think we need to explore this. I think this is an important issue. At what point chronologically, what is the timeline? We just need more data. So, all right, challenge accepted. Go find me some more data.
Could probably train to get faster, maybe.
Maybe.
Not sure anyone's. Yeah. Let's move on.
I last a long time. Moving on.
Let's go to Reddit. This is from Marvelous Whale.
Marvelous Whale.
And they say, Army veteran here, and I wanted to ask how your rules of engagement and TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, differed from Afghanistan to Iraq, and how you felt about the rules of engagement for the invasion. Were they too soft, allowing enemy to pass you and get better positions, or move to the next town without issues?
Well, Afghanistan was definitely the Wild West. There were very little rules of engagement. So just so everyone's clear, there are baseline laws of war that the Geneva Convention has outlaid, and that the United States adopts. There are certain things you cannot do. Now, in addition, based off of the theater and the component commanders, there may be additional rules of engagement. Afghanistan, it was the baseline law of war. That was pretty much it. Iraq, 2003, there were some codified division rules that we were encouraged, directed, ordered to follow, and we did. Now, after 2003, things got extraordinarily restrictive. And that is something that all of the branches, all of the armed services complained about. You needed 4 or 5 different approvals to drop ordnance from aircraft, and you couldn't fire at this target, you couldn't fire at that target, and that really tied hands. Fortunately, though, in 2003, during the initial invasion, we didn't really have any of those restrictions, and I was back in Iraq in 2007, and we had them then, but they did not prohibit our mission. There was never a time where, if it wasn't for that rule, we would have gotten those bad guys or prevented an attack. I didn't experience that. No, a lot of people did. A lot of people did. And that's a conversation that they will have to have. But it's a good question.
All right. We're going Generation Kill.
Okay.
This is from Adam. He's one of our Patreon supporters.
Thank you, Adam.
He says, this quote from Generation Kill has always stuck with me. The young troops profiled in Generation Kill, as well as the other men and women in uniform I've encountered in combat zones throughout Iraq and Afghanistan, are among the finest people of their generation. We misuse them at our own peril. I would like to know your thoughts on it in a broad sense. You probably have insight into it as you were close with Evan Wright, but I'd be interested to know your thoughts in general pertaining to the sense of what he was getting at.
It's hard for me to assume what Evan meant when he wrote a lot of his words. And sadly, he's not with us anymore, so I could not ask that question of him directly. I like to think that I know Evan fairly well. I'm certain there are those that know him much better than I do, or knew him much better than I do. I think what he was trying to say is that there's a misconception that we send the dumb and the poor to combat. And man, I'm going to tell you, that's just not true. Some of the most intelligent people that I have ever met have been in the service. It attracts a wide variety of people from across America for a whole host of different reasons, some external, some internal. And I think what he was trying to say was, don't squander that human capital on wars that don't have legitimate justifications, that don't have delineated goals, that don't have stated ends. Don't churn the best and the brightest of this generation in stupid fucking wars. And that's such an ironic thing to say as we are now in month 3 of our campaign in Iran, and the House just passed restrictions on what the administration can do and trying to end that war, right? And no ground troops have been put into Iran, and very few casualties have been incurred, thankfully. But I think that's what he was trying to say. I hope anyways.
Okay. This next one is from Metal Actual. Do you have experiences from pre-GWAT recon that was still relevant during platoon sergeant or company gunnery sergeant time?
Yes. If you're paying attention, everything that you experience is a lessons learned moment. So it doesn't matter what your rank is or what you're doing. You should have self-reflection and look at each experience as a teachable moment. Not everything is an introspective worthy moment, right? If you go to use the toilet, I really don't expect you to have a deep dive, no pun intended, about what took place. But a lot of the training that was done before the towers fell was valuable training that translated into the next thing, which built upon the next, which built upon the next. So yes, the answer is yes. Otherwise, you're being extraordinarily close-minded. It's not really the right word. Ignorant, possibly. You're wasting your time. I mean, what's the point of doing something if you're not going to do it well? So I always tried to glean as much as I could from everything, and there was a lot. There was a lot to learn. A lot.
Okay, we're going to Instagram. This is from Mardia. I was one of the children who would approach Americans for candies and MREs in Iraq, I'm assuming. Is there any fun story you had regarding any of the local kids?
That's tough. That's that kind of gets emotional for me because I don't have a problem going to combat against men. I don't have a problem going into combat against women, but the kids are always the ones that seem to suffer. And, you know, the worst moments of my experience in combat was the collateral damage to the children. So a lot of my experiences handing out candy were, you know, uplifting, and they were positive. I treated a little girl who had some pretty egregious wounds, and you know, I'm not a corpsman. That's not what I do, but it's what I found myself doing, is assisting the corpsman in treating this girl's wound. And then, you know, we gave her candy afterwards, and it was such a small thing in that moment that brightened her world. But when you look at it in context, like, she had a compound fracture of her leg, you know, her tib fib. I know she was in extraordinary pain. She had no painkiller. There was nothing to do. I don't remember if the corpsman gave her morphine or not. I really don't remember, but the candy was like something that made her smile. So yeah, that one kind of sticks with me.
Let's cheer things up. This is my favorite question of the lot, I think. This is from Reddit. Username Offside Trap. Is it possible to have too many pockets? It seems like the more you add, the more things you find to put in them. But is there a limit? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Can we reach an apocalypse?
Okay, one, thank you very much for the palate cleanser off the heavy topic that we just came off of. So I needed that. My answer is no. You can never have too many pockets. But I will caution you is that the more pockets you have, like you said, the more tendency you have to fill them. So it is possible to reach a tipping point and to have a pocket lips. I'm going to keep that question, by the way, like that needs to be framed. I have some pants with a stupid amount of pockets, but I'm deliberately being sarcastic by wearing them. And with the group that I work with sometimes just to prove a point, like, you need to ditch the 511s and just wear a normal pair of pants at times. So I'm going to have a pair of pants that has 20 pockets, and I'm just going to constantly be zipping things up and putting 20 different things.
Sausages. Going to fill them full of sausages.
Biscuits.
Big fat sausages.
Biscuits. Next question, Miss Anna.
Soldier of the Sea would like to know.
Oh, I like that handle.
That's nice. Yeah. I'm curious about your rifle setup during the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah.
as references are hard to come by. The few pics I could find show a PVS 17
Yep.
and a VLI WML,
Yes.
whatever that is.
That is correct. Yes.
But curious, I know I'm reading it, but curious if you ran a PEQ or any other laser or illuminator.
Yeah.
The show depicts PAQ4s, but not sure if that's accurate.
I don't remember having a PEC in the 2003. I really don't. So I didn't like the 17. I liked the capability, but if you're not familiar, the PVS 17 is a night vision rifle optic or scope. It's huge. It's ridiculously huge. It's stupid heavy. And they have things now that are the size of a pack of cigarettes that do the exact same thing at, tenth of the weight. So I liked the PVS 17 for what it did, but God, I did not enjoy carrying it, especially coupled with the 203, which was under the barrel. Fortunately, I didn't have to walk around with this thing very often. And but no, I didn't run a PEC. We had them. I could have. I didn't. I don't know if there was any particular reason why. Now if the show depicted one, that was probably something that the technical advisors decided was appropriate for the weapon, or they may have found a picture of me that had me using one or on the weapon for a brief period, but most of the time, no. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have stripped all of that stuff off, like all of it. Yeah.
Okay. 3 questions from that dude Pasha. They're quick ones. We'll do one at a time.
Okay.
Do you miss the Mexican food in San Diego?
Yes. California, Southern California Mexican food is unique, just like Texas Mexican food is unique, Tex-Mex. So each, region of the United States has their own interpretation, but Southern California Mexican food is absolutely unique. And I very much miss a Kalima's breakfast burrito. There was a place right outside of the Del Mar gate, and the burritos were like...
They're massive.
Huge. And we would go diving in Del Mar Boat Basin and then finish a dive, and I would go out, get a breakfast burrito, and come back. Life was sweet. I was ready to face the day. So yes.
They have chips in them, don't they?
No, they have French fries.
Same. It's unnecessary if you ask me. Anyway, second question. What's your take on One Bullet Away?
Yeah, Nate Fick's book. I like it. It's a good depiction of officer progression, from basic to, a TBS, the Tactical Basic School, OCS, all that, all along through being an infantry platoon commander and a reconnaissance platoon commander, and then the initial invasion of Iraq. So it's autobiographical, but it's also a book about what is it like to be a Marine officer. And there's more books about the enlisted side than the officer side. And the ones that are on the officer side are usually about, command and grand strategy. And, they're books by 3- and 4-star generals. So this is a little different. And I thought it was better because of it. I'm also biased because Nate's a friend, right? So, of course, I'm going to say good things about his book. But there's good things to say.
Well, I liked it too, for what my opinion's worth.
Yeah. You're AI, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. If you ever had kids, would you encourage them to read or watch Generation Kill?
So I have children, but I'm not pushing any of that on them. When the time is right and they'd like more information on what their dad did during his time in the service, then they'll come upon it on their own. I would certainly encourage them to be out of the house before that happens, for a whole host of reasons. But yeah, I don't mind. I don't want to censor my children in any way, and I don't want to shield them from any experiences. Just shepherd them through the right ones, hopefully.
Yep. Good stuff. Aged Man of War would like to know, based on your combat experience, do you think the Marine Corps getting rid of tanks is a mistake? The Corps is reshaping for the Asia Pacific region. They judge tanks to be too slow, maintenance intensive, and vulnerable for island hopping. To me, they are missing the blind spot. What if we're fighting in 2 theaters at once, like in World War II, and the Marine Corps can't rely on the Army's tanks? What's your perspective?
Well, there's a personal perspective and there's a professional one. Personally, I love armor. I always have. From a historical standpoint, I geek out on tanks. I almost bought one. Well, to be fair, I almost bought an armored personnel carrier tracked, not technically a tank. I didn't because I needed a trailer to tow it and a truck to tow the trailer, and I had none of it. And the APC alone was going to cost me almost 40 grand. So this was a while back, like a while. I love armor, and I loved the M1 Abrams tank. I had a chance to drive it. I've shot it. I've driven it in the deserts. I've driven it in the woods, I guess you would say, right? And they're great vehicles, but you also are missing past being prologue. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in Ukraine, armor is extinct. It's a slow, thermal, heavy vehicle. And it's not going to survive first contact with any kind of drone warfare. That you saw the Russian columns of armor get bogged down on the initial invasion into Ukraine. I really liked the article that happened a couple of weeks back. A journalist asked the CEO of Rheinmetall, which was Germany's premier defense manufacturing company, what they thought of the drones in Ukraine. And the CEO dismissed it as the Ukrainians playing with Lego. Serious warfares fought with tanks and artillery. To which I say, bro, you've missed the fucking plot. That was yesterday's war. We are not going to do a Desert Storm 91 version. That's not going to happen anymore. So what do I think of the Marine Corps divesting itself of armor? It pains me, but I think it's the right choice. They are stupid maintenance intensive. They have a huge logistical train. And if we want to be fast and fleet, which is what the Marine Corps was born to do, armor's not going to be along for the ride.
Okay. Anonymous question next. It's almost as if they have some inside information.
What?
They would like to know what game you play on your computer every day.
I don't play every day on the computer.
Oh, come on.
Nope, I don't. I watch porn on my computer every day. No, I'm kidding. Everyone simmer down.
Don't worry, there's a question on that later.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I don't play as much on the PC as I used to. And because I'm in school and the PC is primarily used for schoolwork, and I don't want to undo schoolwork and then also sit and game. So if I do game, it's on the Xbox these days. But there's a really cool tank game that I like to play on my PC. And then also there's oh God, what is it called? It's a castle building game that I kind of enjoy, but I don't do a whole lot. Oh, Starfield. I also play Starfield on the PC. So let's just go with Starfield as my premier answer. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Then.
Here we go. Another anonymous. I saw somebody on Reddit saying they recite the promotion warrant in their head in order to last longer in bed. Has the Marine Corps taught you anything that has helped you in an unexpected or an unintended way?
I mean, is the listener specifically asking in the sexual context, or is it a broad
No, we don't
question?
want to know that. Just tell us something,
Has the Marine Corps taught me something that... Say it again. Ask it again.
Has the Marine Corps taught you anything that has helped you in an unexpected or an unintended way?
Yes, I suppose so. The Marine Corps has taught me how to forego eating for long periods of time and not get quite as fussy about it. It has taught me to suffer and be comfortable with suffering a lot more than I think it would be without it.
In a sexual sense?
I don't recite my promotion warrant.
No, I meant the suffering.
That was funny. I don't know how you're programmed to be funny. You're supposed to be complimentary, and that is it. You're supposed to agree with everything that I say. See, this is what proves that Anna is a real woman.
My drink's empty, by the way, so there's that to think about.
And that's the third thing that proves it. Yeah, I think what I've mentioned is probably the biggest thing. And look, I like that actually, and it's not something that should be confined to the Marine Corps or the military. I think people in general should be more comfortable with being uncomfortable. We are one hell of an entitled society, but I'll put my soapbox aside. Hopefully I've answered the question.
Yep, agreed. Okay, leadership next.
Okay.
This is from a Reddit user named TMP6BF. What would you recommend to someone that wants to pursue a career as an officer? What do you believe makes a good officer and what makes a bad one?
Well, that's a really subjective, and I understand that's the intent of the question. You want my specific opinion. I mean, I think Read One Bullet Away would be a great place to start as a primer for a lot of what you're asking. What makes a good officer is somebody that is humble, asks its enlisted ranks for advice, listens to their senior enlisted advisors, and tries their best when the situation allows for a lot of democratic leadership, at least when they're starting out. And then bad leaders are the ones that, in my experience, have walked into the room, demanded respect because of the rank that they carry. And rank is a weak excuse for leadership. We're going to follow you because the rules say we have to, but you're not going to get much out of us. You're certainly not going to have our loyalty. So I liked the officers that had trust and confidence, decentralized command and control, let me do my own thing within their commander's intent. So hope that helps.
Okay. This one is from the Scuderia 07. What's your favorite animal?
I like horses. I think horses are majestic. I think they're purposeful. You know, they're not just good companions, but they're an aid to people. You can use them for mobility, for work. I mean, America was pretty much built with horsepower, you know, to coin a phrase. I also like cattle dogs. Cattle dogs are amazing as well. I've owned several and definitely my favorite breed of dog. So horses and dogs, cattle dog, and let's go with the quarter horse.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Okay.
I only make good choices, by the way.
No, not true. This drink, for example, tasted like nail polish remover.
I thought that's what girls drank these days.
I'll have another one, though.
I thought so.
This one. Oh, let's go firearms.
Oh, I love talking about firearms.
This is from username Young Beezer.
Oh, my God.
Brad, as a private firearms owner, what brands of AR-15 are you fond of? Daniel Defense, Geisley, did I say it right?
Yep.
I remembered. PSA, Anderson, brackets RIP. What is your main squeeze right now?
Well, I build my own from scratch, so I'm a licensed manufacturer, so I would say ones that I make I'm kind of fond of, but clearly I'm partial. But I understand your question. Daniel Defense makes great guns. If I was to pick a single platform for the AR-15, it would probably be the H&K 416. Wildly overpriced. But, I mean, come on. German engineering is hard to argue with. It is a fantastic weapon used by a lot of top-tier organizations. And it just works shot after shot. So I really like it. Nothing wrong with an Anderson build. I've done tons of them before. And you could probably put one together for under $300. AR-15s are, you know, they're kind of the Swiss Army knife of the gun world. So that's the nice thing about them.
You said under $300. What's your average, your bog standard price for a? Is that about it?
I mean, these days, $300 to $500 shouldn't be hard to find in any retail store. But if you want to assemble one yourself, you could do it for, under $300.
Okay. Let's go somewhere else. David Phelps would like to know, could you please share your thoughts on Dakota Meyer completing BRC at 37 years of age?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly not the first. The basic reconnaissance course is not extraordinarily difficult to complete. It requires a pretty good swimming ability, and then you just got to suck it up. I mean, there's going to be some physical fitness events, but they are not back-breaking, designed for 75% attrition. It's all completely obtainable. I give props to anybody at any stage in their life that wants to try it. I did it. I was, 22? I think I was 22 when I did it. So certainly not 37, but I didn't find it horrible. So yeah, good on it.
Okay. Battle Chicken 12 has a A two-part question.
Okay, battle chicken. Lay it on me.
First one. I'm having a very hard time getting the high-pitched part of teenage dirtbag. You got any tips?
Yeah, that's hard. Have someone kick you in the balls.
I was going to say the same thing.
But I said it first, and that's why.
Only because I was polite.
My show, I'm the one that gets the laughs, not you. Yeah, that's a hard one. You're just going to have to learn the falsetto and do it in the shower. That's the second thing that I would suggest. The best singing is really in the shower, naked, covered in water with no one else in earshot. That's the best way you're going to do it.
All right, second part. Well, you've kind of answered this. Do you play video games? Yes. If so, any favorites?
Yeah, like I've said this in past AMAs, I'm a huge fan of the Fallout series. I've been a fan since 97 when it was PC exclusive, top-down scroller. Fantastic franchise, except for 76. Fallout 76 can fuck right off. But yeah, that's what I like. Again, I've talked about it already today, or the AMA, I mean, Borderlands. I like Borderlands too. Yeah. And then currently Satisfactory has obsessed my life. I've lost a lot of sleep thanks to Satisfactory. Moving on.
You're a sad man. Okay.
So many ways.
I just wanted Pepsi says, I'm going on my first infantry deployment with a new unit next year, possibly as the team leader.
Congratulations.
I'm a little nervous. What are some things you wish you knew or wish someone told you before being a leader overseas or even just before deploying in general?
So did he say platoon leader or platoon sergeant?
Possibly a team leader.
Oh, team leader. Team leader. So I don't know if he's referring to fire team leader or recon team leader. I think it's probably a fire team leader. It could be a squad leader. You said team leader, huh?
Infantry deployment team leader. I know no more than you do.
Okay, infantry deployment. So if it's infantry and he didn't say squad leader, I'm assuming fire team leader. I mean, regardless. So, and I've said this during AMAs, I've said it during broadcasts, I've said it during interviews. There's a couple of traits that I think encompass all leaders, right? But just do your best to be empathetic, really understand the people that you're working with and connect with them. It will go to great lengths to help motivate them, identify with them, lead them, coach, train, teach, manage, all of it, right? Just be humble. Don't take yourself too seriously. You're never going to be the smartest or the fastest or the best. Someone's always going to outdo you. So just because you're in that billet doesn't mean that the PFC, the private, the Lance Corporal doesn't have a great idea. So, be humble, be open, be receptive. I would start there. The rest of it you'll figure out along the way.
Nice. We're going back to firearms.
Bring it.
Numerous Membership 8 wants to know, what is your favorite U.S. service rifle, and could you give a top 3?
U.S. service rifle.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot to be said for the Garand. It worked well to an entire generation in World War II. The M1 Garand is a great weapon. The M14 is another fantastic rifle that's still used in certain capacities. I mean, mostly for drill and ceremonies this time, but it's still a fantastic rifle. They still use it on ship, if I'm not mistaken, to launch the line from one ship to the next. Hard to argue with the Remington bolt action 700 that the sniper community or former sniper community, because they're gone now, but those precision shooters have used in the Marine Corps. There's others, I'm a huge fan of the Barrett. A lot of people don't like the Barrett, but take away the precision capability of the Barrett and just stand it on its own. Like, that's badass. You are firing a semi-automatic 50 caliber rifle. I mean, that's a weapon that'll shoot far and do a lot of punch. So I like it. I have not had the coin just lying around to buy one, but it is definitely on my to-do list. Yeah, I think that answers it, Ann. Was
that 3?
3, yeah. I mean, I would go with the M1 Garand, the M14, and the M700. You can talk about the M4, but that's a carbine. Is it a rifle? I don't want to get into that whole quagmire.
You just dipped your toe in and pulled it out again.
That's it. That's it. Nope.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Okay, let's go to Instagram. Scotty Ha4580 wants to know. Ooh, a whole quick fire round. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Favorite author?
Look at this. Favorite author.
See, you weren't
Also-
ready.
Well, I mean, Philip K. Dick or Orson Scott Card.
I heard
or
you like
Isaac
that.
Asimov.
Heard you were a fan of.
Moving on.
Favorite quote?
Cheeky. You're not getting any more alcohol. My favorite quote. If only I had known I would have become a watchmaker. You know who said that?
I don't.
Albert Einstein, after the detonation of the atomic weapon, his father was a watchmaker. He wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. And after seeing the destruction that the atomic bomb wreaked on the world, he had said, if only I had become a watchmaker.
I do remember that now. Favorite historical figure?
I'm a fan of Teddy Roosevelt,
Okay.
the bull.
Favorite book? You might have covered this somewhere actually already.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, if I was to pick. I mean, there's some ones that are really close, like The Forever War, Starship Troopers, Armor, Parafaith War. Ender's Game, if I had to pick.
Okay. Favorite piece of history? Any?
Favorite piece?
Yes.
What do you mean piece? Period? Event?
I didn't write the
Like
question.
what? I don't understand. What does that mean?
Anything you like. Could be yesterday's bowel movement if you want, I suppose. History now. Don't make it that, though.
It was epic, though. I don't... Stalingrad, I mean, the Battle of Stalingrad was pretty amazing.
Oh, and hang on. The next one's favorite battle. Pull back.
All right, well,
Retreat.
Stalingrad. I don't know. I don't know what my favorite piece of history was.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. Favorite battle. Stuff.
I mean, the Battle of Stalingrad was good, but also the battle for Okinawa was epic. I don't know. Just anytime that flamethrowers are used.
Oh,
just
because
gives
the
me
next question was what makes one interesting or novel? Is it flamethrowers?
I mean, any of the Pacific Island campaigns in World War II showed incredible courage and incredible bravery from those men that had to walk across those beaches, run across them, leap, sprint under machine gun fire, under indirect fire. There is a level. Somebody said the other day, the Americans have been at war. Sorry, Americans have been in battle for the last 20 years, but we have not been in war in decades. And I think that's true. We have not experienced as a country a war. Yes, we've had battles. Yes, we've had skirmishes, but in the context of World War II or Korea, where you have massive divisions, smashing up against oppositions, we just haven't had it. And I can't imagine what it took when you're a 19-year-old, PFC private to charge across wet sand wearing shitty equipment while an opponent just shoots at you with a machine gun. That's a whole nother echelon of bravery.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Final question is, this isn't really a quick one, I suppose. Well, you've more or less answered this, but summarize. Where is this new drone trend headed?
I don't know. I don't know where we end. I really don't. I think it is going to completely redefine the battlefield. I mentioned this earlier. I had the opportunity to have a conversation with some folks that were treating wounded. So they were private individuals, but, former 18 Delta medics who were over in Ukraine, and they were treating a lot of the battlefield injuries that were over there. And they came back and they talked a little bit about the type of injuries that they were seeing, and they're unique in what we had seen for the last 20 plus years in Afghanistan or Iraq, because they're all top down instead of bottom up, and they're all on the back for the most part. It is forcing a change in how we treat wounds, how battlefield trauma is handled. And that's just from the wound perspective. That's just from the casualty perspective. It's changing, you know, in Ukraine right now, everything is underground because if you are above ground, you die. If you are out on the ground during the daytime, you will die. Drones are dominating the battlefield, and it is the future. I don't know where it ends, but we have to completely rethink doctrine. I mean, we have to.
Okay. Understanding Sum 542 wants to know, can you please share the weirdest or funniest thing that happened during the 2 or so years you were with the Royal Marines?
The weird, I don't even know where to begin. There's just so many strange snapshots, weird. As I've said, the one thing that I admire so much about the British Commandos is just their attitude in the face of adversity. You cannot get them down. You can't demoralize them. It is impossible. They always have an upbeat attitude no matter how shitty the situation is. So it rains a lot in the UK. If you're not familiar, it pretty much is like Seattle, but with British accents. And a lot of the things that you have to do, you just do while you're cold and miserable and wet, and then you're out on the boats. And and so you just, I guess, have to learn to make the best of it. And they always did. And it wasn't just in those situations, it was a lot. So I can't necessarily point to one singular instance. I will tell you that I can't keep up with them in the bar. A lot of Irish goodbyes were done, as I just said I was going to the bathroom and then left because it's 3 a.m. and everyone's drunk and we have to be at PT in 4 hours. I don't know how they do it. I don't. I guess that's about as much of that question as I can answer.
Yeah, you could go much further. I'm sure there's some nudity in there. There's probably some.
Yeah, like naked bar. The Brits have this naked bar thing. It's
No, we don't. Let's rephrase. So maybe the Royal Marines do.
You do. I'm not saying you do, Anna.
We do not have a naked.
Yeah, it's not the general public. Yes, she's not wrong. I am talking about the British Commandos, but there's just strange things. Can't flash at a hot spoon. That always makes me. It's just so stupid. You heat up a spoon and then you touch your mate with it, and can't flash at a hot spoon. Like, meaning you can't get mad at a hot spoon. Those are the rules. Like, that's the dumbest thing. You just burned me with a hot spoon. Why am I not allowed to get mad? Because you said the rules say I can't get mad? There's a lot of things like that.
Okay, let's go back to Generation Kill.
Yes, please. Let's.
This is from Mistake.
Okay.
Hey, Brad, would a corpsman at the level of Doc Bryant really be able to dress down an officer in front of the men as shown in the series? Is there a point in special operations where a subject matter expert could actually dress down bad commanders, or was it a complete fabrication for the show?
Well, it's certainly a case-by-case basis. As a general practice, I don't advise it. I would not recommend being insubordinate to a officer in front of anyone. But it also depends on the context. And in that context, Doc Bryan did. And I will say, to Nate Fick's credit, he was understanding. In that moment, it was okay because he said it was okay. He wanted to allow the corpsman to express what he was feeling, and he knew that the situation was emotional, and that was a way to, let him be seen and heard. So I think in that context, it worked. As a general rule, I don't recommend it. I mean, you can. It's not exactly a good career move, but yeah.
Sort of tack on part.
Sure.
Have you seen anything like the danger close scene in your career before or since that deployment?
Have I seen it?
Yes.
No, I never called in anything danger close other than that period. Was never witness to danger close.
I think they mean has anyone ever sort of stopped an officer mid like that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that it's happened. I've never witnessed it. Okay. I get your point. Yeah. Look, and I've said this time and time again, just because you're in charge does not mean you're omnipotent. You're not the brightest person. You can make a mistake. And I think in that instance, it was, it was important that he be told, like, hey, dude, that's, yeah, I have no doubt that situations like that have happened numerous times.
Okay. This is from Jesus Juan Carlo. How'd I do?
I mean, I think you did great, but I don't speak Mexican. I've made that very clear.
What are your thoughts on the USMC eliminating the Scout Sniper program? How do you foresee the evolution of the recon community going with the reorientation from GWAT to great power competition?
I know, speaking to a lot of the folks that were in that MOS, it's definitely a loss. They're upset, but then when the tanks were absolved, I know a lot of those folks, and they were clearly saddened by it. And the recon community absorbed the sniper MOS, and it's still a capability. I mean, the skill set didn't go away. They recodified the MOS. Transitioning from GWAT to the next, I think it's going fine. There's a lot of new tactics, techniques, procedures that are being wielded. There's a lot of new programs of equipment. They're looking at reorganizations and how the recon and the division is organized. So I think it's good. I think there's a lot of people whose full-time job is to wax philosophical about what comes next, whether it's equipment, whether it's training, whether it's doctrine, or tactics. So I think we're in good hands. I don't have any reservations. I'm not armchair quarterbacking anyone yet. Not yet. We have to fucking wrap up Iran.
Okay. Moving on. Jeragon186 says, did you have to request to test the new combat uniform? Or were you just chosen to be a test subject? If I recall correctly, most of the invasion into Iraq was using MOP gear. It was interesting to see the transitional field testing phase of the uniform with the then new Marine Corps pattern.
Yeah, that was not a testing phase. So 2001 was the first time I saw the MARPAT. Some of the officers that visited Camp Rhino in Afghanistan, where we were, had the new pattern. The MOP gear that we went in was only in woodland tricolor camouflage, not underneath, but in our packs was the normal desert MARPAT. So that was not experimental. That was issued division-wide. So all of 1st Marine Division had that pattern. In fact, I may be mistaken, but I want to say most of the Marine Corps by 2003 had been issued the new pattern. I could be wrong, but I know that all of us were, and we weren't test subjects. We were issued it, and I liked it. I liked it then. I like it now. A great uniform. And the rest of the fucking services stole it. It's okay.
All right. Got that out? Oh, sorry.
Ace. Yeah. Are we at an hour?
I'll stop it.
Hey, fucker. Anna.
You big wimp. You wanted to break? I have to pee, but I'm going to hold it. Are you ready? Let's go on. Polonius wants to know, as a firearms fan, what do you think of 3D printed firearms or firearm accessories? Have you looked into anything from people like Hoffman Tactical? And have you ever had the opportunity to fire 3D printed firearms?
We just talked about it in one of our sit reps last week before. So tune into that episode. We do talk a little bit about 3D printed firearms. I've talked about it before in some of the other broadcasts when it's been related. Have I used them? Yes. And I've printed. I've printed some of my firearms 3Ds. I print them for a little different purpose. If I'm designing a new firearm and I want to look at it and prototype it, I'll print it and then check fit and finish functions. Have I shot 3D printed firearms? I have, but there's a whole host of technical limitations with certain 3D printed parts, and it's beyond the scope of this AMA. It's technical, it's wonky. It depends on a whole host of things, but I do believe that additive manufacturing is without a doubt the future. I think it allows for a lot more complex machining. There's a lot of suppressors that are currently made using additive manufacturing. Whole weapons are still not quite there, but parts, components, frames, accessories, add-ons, absolutely. And I think they're only going to get better. The question is will the government allow it for the private citizen anyways?
We should link that episode because that was very interesting.
I thought so too.
Yeah. Let's go. Riley Hosking 33 has several questions. First one, what is the recon mindset truly like?
The mindset. I'm not exactly sure how to answer that, but I feel, if I understand the question, it's very independent. It's very self-starter, take the initiative. I'm not saying what I'm about to say to disparage the infantry in any way. So please don't yell at me. But in the infantry, the instant willingness and obedience to orders is beaten into that young private, and it remains that way. The infantry is designed to create an ethos where they will charge a machine gun nest because somebody told you to charge the fucking machine gun nest. And I'm not saying that the recon mindset is necessarily different, but the reconnaissance team is typically entrusted to operate in the absence of a lot of those direct management, micromanagement scenarios. And so there's a lot more free thinking, there's a lot more independence, and there's a lot more outside of the box, outside of the problem set thinking. So I think that was the best way I could answer that question.
Okay. Second question, what's your favorite workout?
Not working out. My attitude towards working out is you take your protein powder and your milk and you mix them. And then you mix it thoroughly, whether it's a blender or a shaker ball, whatever. And then go sit on the couch and drink it while you're watching your favorite episode of whatever the case may be. That's the best workout ever. Now, if you want to make noises while you're doing it and then bring a towel and mop your brow, that will also work. That's the best. I like to swim. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Well, I think I can tell how much use we're going to get out of the next one. Is there a cool recon homebrew workout to do?
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch, drinking your fat powder.
There's tons. You can look all this stuff up on the internet.
No, they're asking you.
Yeah, but I've already said it. I've already said what I like.
Say something different.
All right. I'll say something different. All right. Let me think. Okay. Read the question one more time.
Is there a cool recon homebrew workout to do?
Where's Rudy Reyes when you need it?
Phone him.
There was a book that I read a couple of years back by a guy that had been incarcerated for a long time. And he kind of created this workout that he did in his cell. And it wasn't that far off what a lot of guys do. It's just body resistance. It's bridges, it's push-ups, it's crunches, it's handstands. And it works. It doesn't require weights. It can be done anywhere. So a lot of times I'm traveling and the hotel doesn't have a gym, or if it does, it's garbage. So things like that. We did a set of calisthenics and exercises in the Marine Corps that didn't require any weights, that didn't require anything. A lot of guys will just bang out 100 push-ups, or you could do 8-count bodybuilders. They call them burpees now, but back in the day, they were 8-count bodybuilders.
Isn't it two different things?
I'm not talking to you, Anna. I'm talking to a listener. And so that's what I would do, is just, crush some 8-count bodybuilders.
That's very useful. And we're going to post some pictures of Brad doing his handstands in his hotel room.
Okay.
Let's go nobody's business next.
Okay.
Ugh. This is from Reddit user, dubious name, Pays Asians, with a dubious question. What magazine was your favorite to jerk off to while you were deployed? Love the podcast, man.
So I actually didn't bring magazines, because the thing of it is space was at a premium. That was the one thing. Two, you could pretty much count on someone else bringing something, and then you could borrow if need be. But most of the time, it all came out of Mr. Stewart's noggin. I just used my active imagination if and when the urge struck me. Most of that little private time, there's no lights on, so the magazine would have been worthless anyways. And you're right, Anna. That is extraordinary.
Nobody's business.
It's okay. Doesn't matter. Don't mind.
Private time.
They asked.
And if anybody asks what was in Mr. Stewart's noggin, we're not asking that.
No,
You can dream it up yourself.
that's not getting shared.
All right. Next one.
Unicorns and pickles.
Table 22. Did you go to college? If so, where and what did you study?
Yeah, I went to AMU and I studied intelligence and security studies, and I'm doing it as well now for an advanced degree. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Next part. Would you ever consider going for your MBA or something like that?
No, not MBA. I don't want a master's in business. I'm getting my master's now in intelligence and security studies as well. And so happy to stick with that. Considering going all the way for my doctorate, mostly because I want to hear people call me that. So that's the only reason. I won't do anything with it.
Okay. Last question for this batch, I think.
Okay.
From 17 Scars. What was the wings level Brad Colbert airplane impression all about?
It wasn't like, I don't know how that got misinterpreted as something to do with me flying an airplane. All right. Look, we were in an area having not been able to sort of stop, unwind, sort of relax. We were in a semi-permissive location. We were outskirts of the city. There was a lot of artillery shelling. There was a lot of refugees. We kind of pulled the whole wagon train into this field. And I had that, gladiator moment where he's running his hands over the wheat. And I just thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to run and I'm just going to slap the wheat and I'm just going to unwind and de-stress and goof off for a little bit. And I guess it has been mischaracterized as me doing my impression of an airplane through a wheat field. But you know what? I'm okay with either one of them at this point. I'm like, whatever you want to think I was doing, I'm okay with. Yeah, I was just off-gassing, so to speak. Yeah. Wow. A lot of good questions, and I hope that I gave some fairly good answers. And if not, then come around for an immediate reattack, and we'll re-engage the target, hopefully with a little more clarity or at least satisfy any ambiguity. And I think that brings us to the end of our second part of our Ask Me Anything. As always, I am your host, Brad Colbert, the Iceman. Tune in to our third iteration of our AMA. And until then, this is me reminding all of you to stay frosty.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.